Hey everyone, welcome to Hustle On. I'm Joe Galatly. Today we're talking with Erik Nelson. He'll share some great takeaways from his journey so far building TidyHut right here in Spokane. Enjoy.
Yeah, I'm on my way. I'm needing some big change. Like, how are things still the same? They finding me entertaining, could never be imitated. Can't wait to say that I made it.
Welcome to Hustle On, the podcast about startups in Spokane and across the Inland Northwest.
Hey Erik, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking a few minutes with us today. How you doing today?
Good, great. Sunny day here in sunny Spokane, Washington.
I am excited to see the sun. We've gone a few days without it, so this is a good day. I want to just start right out with the origin story for your company, for TidyHut. Tell us what it is, tell us how the idea came about, and we'll go from there.
So TidyHut is the world's first non-disgusting portable toilet that is odorless, waterless, environmental friendly, as well as clean and sterile-free user. We'll explain later how it works, but the origin story was I took my wife camping and we went to Glacier National Park. She said she wanted to go camping. My daughter and I were like, we know she's not a camper. So we're like, okay, we'll go to a campground in Glacier National Park that has a flush toilet. But we went the 4th of July weekend and it was totally crowded. So we ended up going to Canada with our passports and staying at a private campground, which had a regular portable toilet. And my wife looked at it and said, "Nah, you're driving me to town." So after 4 or 5 times of driving her back and forth between town to use a toilet, I just said, "Hey, honey, time out. Let's go get a hotel." And she's like, "Are you sure?" We said, "Look, we promised you a flush toilet. You didn't get one. Don't worry about it. We'll go to a hotel." We had a great trip, had a great time. But it got me thinking, this day and age where you have, smart cars, smartphones, and the internet, why are we still crapping in a bucket? And it kind of stuck in the back of my mind. And then I do a lot of races, like half marathons and marathon races. And you always see the portable toilets and they're always disgusting. And you think runners would have some, they would have a good hygiene using the toilet, but they don't. They just squat in the air and it goes everywhere. And it's just absolutely disgusting. So I looked at it and I said, there's got to be a better portable toilet. There's got to be a way to do this. I had worked for Governor of Massachusetts as an option researcher. So I had done opposition work on his candidates, and then you do option work on your candidates. So I said, well, if I'm going to look at this problem, why don't I spend 6 months doing option research and trying to prove why you shouldn't do it? Like, this is a waste of time. Don't do this. And the more research I did, the more I found that this is a universally despised product, that people hate portable toilets. I mean, they're happy there is one versus not having one, but they absolutely hate portable toilets. In the industry, I did a lot of research on it, and they found out that 90% of people, when they use a portable toilet, they hover, they don't sit down. And I'm just like, okay, that's horrible, right? and it's just disgusting. So I realized that there's an opportunity here. I also saw that it was a $2 billion market. And I saw that the largest player, American On-Site Services, only controls between 12 and 16% of the market. So most of the market is owned by small mom and pop operators. So it's not like I was introducing a new soda and going against Coke and Pepsi. It'd be like introducing a new soda. Coke only has 12% of the market, and the rest of it is all locally generated sodas. It's nothing new. I was also inspired by the book 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, which I think is a must read for any entrepreneur, because to summarize this book, he basically says that any startup or any solution that you have needs to be 10 times better than anything out there. And we're talking your minimum viable product. We're not talking about what you see your future state, but what is your minimum viable product? Can you make one that is 10 times better than anything else out there? And I kept that in mind. I said, okay, well, what can I do to improve it? And then I came up with goals. I said, what would, starting with a blank slate for redesigning the portable toilet, what would be 4 goals for the toilet? And I said, well, it could be waterless, odorless, environmental friendly, and clean and sterile for each user. I had no idea how I was going to solve that, but I didn't worry about it. I just kind of wrote it down on a piece of paper, 4 different goals, put it in the back of my brain, continue on what I'm doing in life and just kind of, whittled away with it as I was going through it. And I came across the diaper genie, that we all used in the 90s, if you were a parent in the 90s, which has plastic that comes up over the seat down to the basin. And I said, well, how could I do that? What if I had an adult version of a diaper genie? What can I do to do that? And what kind of plastic could I use? And so I found a company that makes the plastic. Then I ended up designing the toilet. And again, I have time, so I'm doing something else. It's all back burner type stuff. I haven't committed a lot of resources to it. I knew I needed to learn 3D printing and 3D modeling. So I just took my time. Fusion 360 had just come out. It was free for early users. So I just spent evenings learning how to use Fusion 360 for CAD modeling. And when I got tired, I just put it down and come back to it and put it down and come back to it. And eventually I became really good at it. And as far as the engineering, I went through a bunch of YouTube clips on engineering. I mean, it's just about sourcing. Really, as an entrepreneur, your greatest resource is sourcing ideas, sourcing solutions, and talking to everybody you could see. Just mention what you're doing, because you don't know who can push you in the right direction to solve your problem. Now, granted, 80% of the time, it's not going to be a solution, but 20% of the time, it will be a solution. And it'd be something that you're like, oh, I need to look into that, or I need to look at that. So that's kind of like how the TidyHut came along. It took a while to do it, and now we have a total working prototype that has been used in public, and people love it so much they take selfies on it, which you never see. Women are so happy about it that they're going telling their friends, hey, you got to check out this portable toilet. I mean, it was amazing to see it at a 10K race or a 10-mile race, how people reacted to it.
As you said, it's a universally despised current state. And
yes,
really no argument with that. What a fantastic picture of taking something from a concept, really just a concept of a problem. It sounds like it wasn't so much that you had this idea of a solution. And I think that it's an interesting takeaway that you spent the time in trying to disprove this thesis that this is a problem I should solve.
And I recommend it to any entrepreneur. If you have an idea, you need to spend time trying to disprove it, because Mr. Market doesn't care what your mom says about it. Mom says, this is a great idea, you should do it. Hey, thanks, Mom, that's great. And you go to Mr. Market. Mr. Market's like, we don't care. We don't want to buy it. And then what do you go back to Mom? And Mom says, that's okay, boy, you did a good job, you tried. But I mean, you just wasted all this time. So your best bet is to really find out if you're addressing a major pain point. And if you are you addressing it with a solution that is at least 10 times better? I mean, if you look at the book 0 to 1, they talk about PayPal. And when they did PayPal, they thought it was going to be something that would be used for immigrants who come to our country who want to send money back to Mexico. That was the whole premise. And so they said, well, it'd be a great way to send money. It would beat Western Union. What they didn't realize when they finally did it, that a lot of these immigrants did not have access to computers back at their house. So there was no way they were going to transmit the money over PayPal. They then discovered that eBay had a problem where buyers and sellers were waiting for, you'd order something on eBay, you'd win the bid, then you'd send in a check. The check would go in the mail. It would arrive to the seller. He would then have to cash it, make sure it cleared, and then he would mail the product. So that would take 10 days. And then when they got PayPal in there, they said, look, this can all be done in real time. It solved a major problem. Now, PayPal was not looking for that. They thought it'd be something else. And I think as an entrepreneur, you really have to be flexible. Like when we were doing TidyHut, as we're doing TidyHut, you find everybody has their sanitation story, and they tell you all these things you never, like I didn't know about the issues of sanitation up in Alaska, where they don't have sewer connected toilets because of the permafrost in the ground. So major cities, when they have sewer connected toilets, they have to pump in hot water that recirculates back and forth between the house and the sanitation unit in order to the pipes don't freeze. Anything off that grid is a portable toilet. And in a lot of the native villages up there, they have these 5-gallon painters buckets, and they put a bag over it, and they just fill it up with waste, grab the whole bag and dump it in a sewage loop behind their village. Wintertime, it freezes, they cut it up in chunks and float it down the river. I mean, it's just absolutely disgusting. And TidyHut's a solution that can solve that problem. I mean, you start learning about RVs, you start learning about glamping, you learn about weddings, which we actually did a wedding this last summer, and people were excited about it. There's so many applications, but you only get that if you keep talking. Like, don't be afraid if you have your solution to think someone's going to steal it. It takes a lot of work to produce a product. And for someone just to steal it, unless they were already in the industry and it was just a one-off for what they're doing, yeah, I wouldn't tell them. But most people, you just want to tell because you're networking through them to see who they know and who you should talk to in order to explore your problem and then get a solution. Like, we found out through networking that around Lake Coeur d'Alene here in the Pacific Northwest, people have these huge houses, and they have a long hill to get to the dock. They want a portable toilet, not have people go clear up to the house. So TidyHut can be applied as a small, like a wood structure with the TidyHut inside that totally solves purpose. Now, I would never would have discovered that market if I hadn't been afraid to talk to everybody, just to present it. You don't even know. You don't know who's going to say, what about this? Have you thought about that? Now, you still have to measure them all. And that's how we came across the mining industry. The mining industry is a huge issue with portable toilets deep underground. What we learned by talking to miners and to people in the industry is that these toilets have to be brought up to the surface once a week. Their guys have to pay their guys, which make about $50, $75 an hour, to bring all these units up to the surface for a guy to clean them. And then they got to bring them all back down. And they take them down the service elevator, the one that people go up and down, right? And it's a huge hassle, where if they had TidyHuts in the mine, they had these guys called nippers who go around and they bring tools down and they bring stuff up to the surface. They would just incorporate in their maintenance schedule for servicing a TidyHut. And we tell people, like, how hard is it to service a TidyHut? I tell people, if you can train somebody to empty a garbage can, they can service a TidyHut. That's how simple it is. But again, you have to network. You have to talk about people. Don't hide your idea. Talk to everybody.
100% agree with that, and great examples of how that plays out when you do have those conversations. A couple of just kind of more practical questions out of what you were just sharing. First off, you mentioned it's a $2 billion market, $2 million market. Is that potential with all these areas you're finding, and you've quantified all that? Is it 2 billion today, and then there's even more expansion beyond that? What does that look like?
It's more beyond it. So the 2 billion is just for ready rentals of portable toilets. What we were able to do at TidyHut is actually go into other areas, like say, like Boeing, for example. Boeing has planes where they have to put in the blue water before the plane takes off, right? So that's like 2,000 gallons of liquid, which costs how much of aviation fuel to do it. If they had TidyHuts in their plane, they wouldn't have to carry that extra liquid, and it's also cleaner. It's easy for them to do the removal process. You don't have to wait for a big vacuum truck to come up to the train to suck it all out. It's just trash. You just take it out as trash. And again, you don't learn about these things unless you're unafraid to tell people what you're working on, and then listen about the, oh, by the ways, have you thought about this, or have thought about that?
So many things that I certainly have never thought about. Fascinating. And so then one more building on that, then is this an IP play for you? Do you have some patents of any type that yet?
Yes, we have patents that cover the TidyHut, and also the patent protection behind it. We use Lee & Hayes, which is a fabulous IP firm here in Spokane, Washington, which is actually the second largest patent firm in the United States, which I didn't know. It's based here in Spokane, which is great. And we work with some great people there to put the patent together. We also have protection, of course, overseas, and with the trademark for TidyHut. So it'd be very hard for somebody to go around us on this unit.
For our product-based entrepreneurs out there, do you pursue that level of protecting your creations, your inventions early in the design phase? Do you wait till you have something that you're like, I'm pretty close to what I want to lock in here, and then you start the paperwork process?
I think it really depends what your finances are. So if you have money to put into a patent, you can do that early. If you don't have that, then you're gonna, well, as long as you're not publishing or showing. I'm not an attorney, I can't explain everything to you, but my understanding is you can get a provisional patent. You could try from there. Or maybe the thing you have is not patentable, but you can be first to market, and first to be the best at what you're doing. So even when someone tries to copy you, you're already moving on to something else. I know with the TidyHut, we're going to be incorporating Bluetooth technology into the TidyHut and all these other things we're going to add to it. So if someone tries to copy us in some way that they could somehow work around our patent, we're just 100% dedicated to the sanitation. So to us, it's not just about a quick buck here and there. It's about transforming the industry. It's about providing decent sanitation for people. And we also want to move this to eventually be in other countries, third world countries, where dysentery and all those other issues are huge. So for someone to come in, and I heard the story with the Wright brothers. The Wright brothers, they had this the airplane, you all know about it, and then they approached the Army. And another company saw the Wright brothers and said, oh, we can do that too. So they put in a bid for an airplane. And they said, we can do this, we can do that, we can do it cheaper. Well, the military looked at the two proposals and saw that the Wright brothers were absolutely passionate about flying. Like if the military didn't invest them, they still were going to develop these planes. Like it didn't matter. And the other guys were just like, oh, we can make a quick buck here. And the military chose the Wright brothers because one was absolutely passionate about bringing the best product to market. And the other, would just go, well, that's what your specs were, so we did this, right? Our company is absolutely passionate about sanitation and about improving sanitation. I mean, when you see a lady open a TidyHut and go, oh my God, that is so clean. Oh my God, I could sit down on this. And then we use the same structures for portable toilets, but the TidyHut toilet takes less space. So when you go into one of these units, you're just around room. And you don't have all these nasty smells, right? It's just like, it's a pleasant experience to be in this toilet. And it's actually cleaner than a regular regular public toilet because the plastic comes up over the seat and it's all clean and sterile. So you're sitting on a fully clean toilet that, blows people away. And that's the passion we bring to this. Like, it's not about a quick buck, or we see this as a easy market to get in, or it's like, no, this is a passion to bring a product that is better than anything else out there and to improve the quality of people's lives. And I think if you align that with your business model, you're going to attract the investors that you need, the people that you need around you to advise you. That's all going to come from just your passion of what you're trying to do.
So in your mission to revolutionize sanitation, how has Spokane or the Inland Northwest been supportive? What resources have been helpful? And what's been your experience building it here in the community?
Okay, so here's the weird thing about Spokane. All right, we're the biggest city for about 400 miles around. Right, I grew up in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and we moved here about 20 years ago. If I were to do this in the Bay Area, if I needed the metal work or some work, I'd have to drive 2 hours to the other side of the bay, and then 2 hours to this side of the bay, or 3 hours. I mean, because everything is all over the place. Now, the interesting thing about Spokane is that because we're the biggest city for 400 miles around, every industry is represented in this one city. Okay, so if you want a metal worker, there's 5 different metal manufacturers here. If you want a aluminum supplier, there's like 8. Okay, you want a plastic supplier, there's a whole bunch of them because they have to represent this region. So it's very easy. And as you know, Spokane is very friendly. People are very talkable. They want to do business. It's very easy to call someone up, go see them, talk about it. And then what they do here in Spokane is they'll suggest like, oh, well, you should talk to so-and-so. I don't think what we have will work for you. Why don't you go talk to him? And here's his number. I mean, that's how Spokane is. It's a very collegiate environment, and it's everybody trying to help everybody else out. So it's been a fantastic experience doing. I don't think I could have done it anywhere else but Spokane.
That's a little bit of a different answer than I've usually heard to that too. So that's really interesting. I think you're absolutely right. And it's outside of the kind of the end of the box. It's a great place to live, and we have universities, which is huge, all of that, right? Yeah. But that's another huge point. The whole ecosystem we have that's right here, and it's all a 20-minute drive at most in any direction.
20-minute drive. I mean, it's like the manufacturers are all here. They're already doing it for all the other major companies. You want to slip in there, you could slip in there. It's amazing. And I don't think any other city, I mean, look, Spokane has 3 Walmarts, 2 Costco's, Air National Airport, a convention center, 4 TV stations. Most cities don't have this. Okay, it's only 200,000 people live here. Everything is represented in this one city. So if you're a startup and you want to do something, this is the place to be, because everything is here all in one place. And the real estate, as far as renting for your business, is cheap. The cost of living is lower than other areas. Your money goes farther. You've got snow within 45 minutes away. You can go skiing. Beautiful downtown, bike ride all over the place. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. And we even have McDonald's.
We have it all.
Yeah.
Even McDonald's. Yes. All right. So safe to say that you're a fan of Spokane, and it's great to hear that. It's exciting to talk to anybody who has a passion for building their business here and sees all the benefits of that. Let me just close with this question: what's next for TidyHut? What is your plan to? Well, I don't know exactly what point you're at the moment. Are you taking this to market in any specific way? You've got a little more development before you're there. What's just ahead for you?
So we have developed the TidyHut for the mining industry. We have 6 units that are going to be completed. They are going to be distributed with the local mines over in Idaho for them to do a demo, which is usually the best way to get people to sign on to your business. And then we'll be taking orders from there. But there's the mining industry. There's Fairchild Air Force Base wants to try it out. There's the whole wedding industry in the summertime that wants to try it out. We've got the Bloomsday for the VIP tent. They want to try it out. I mean, it's really unlimited where the TidyHut can go in this community. And the great thing about it is it doesn't require a $60,000 vacuum truck to service. So a TidyHut can be at any kind of event. It's good for 120 uses, which would be if you had it there for 2 hours and each person took a minute to use it, it would be 2 hours. But that's not the case. People usually about 5 or 6 minutes in a toilet, longer in a TidyHut because they're like, oh my God, it's beautiful. But it's also easy to service because all you do is you open the back and change the bag and put a new bag in. It doesn't require a porta toilet operator to come with his vacuum truck. Like, let's say you had a jazz festival, which we do have here. We have those kind of festivals, and you have your portable toilets. For a regular servicing, the truck has to come in, the big sewage truck, right? Suck all the crap out, which is disgusting. All the smells go everywhere, spray it out afterwards. And then maybe it's clean for the first 2 uses. And after that, it's just disgusting. Where a TidyHut is clean from the first use to the last use. And any volunteer working at the event can service the TidyHut. It is that simple. It totally takes the model portable toilet and turns it on its head. And it's something that's been needed because the portable toilet was invented 80 years ago in the shipyards during World War II as a way so people wouldn't have to walk off the dry dock ships and over to the toilet and come back. They just built a primitive wood structure for people to use. It hasn't changed much. It's been the same, and the industry has been the same, and people have just kind of accepted that's just what it is. Where TidyHut, once you see the option of a TidyHut, you can't go back to the other one.
I said that was the last question. I want to just add one more in here because I think you've made the case. It's obvious that this is a non-disgusting approach to sanitation. Do the costs pencil out for the event organizer of for the Bloomsday or the Jazz Festival? Is there an additional investment needed, but it's worth it, or long term is there some kind of net break-even point for this decision?
So we did this at a 10K race here in town. Normally they would rent about 4 portable toilets. They only use 1 TidyHut, which serviced the entire race. It does cost a little bit more, but like I tell people, you get what you pay for. Like if you want to pay the $60 for a portable toilet or whatever it is, they charge $120 for it. You're basically paying the crap in a bucket. Okay, and that's the atmosphere you're going to create for your users. For a TidyHut, like for a wedding, it was like $450 for a weekend. The next step up is luxury loo, which is a trailer that comes, onto your site, and those are from $800 to $1,200, if not $2,000 for it. There's a lot more work. They have a bigger footprint. and they don't stay as clean as a TidyHut. So we're kind of in that midpoint between, if people are going to rent it. But for people who buy the units, like with the mining industry, it totally saves the money because they don't have to transport it to the surface. I mean, a lot of industries, this just makes sense. They don't have to worry about a truck coming up. They don't have to worry about access, like construction sites. You know, they could own their own toilet, they would, and they can put their logos on the outside of it, and all they're doing is paying for bags. And we have financing that make it cheaper than it would cost to rent a portable toilet, just the payments on the financing.
Great answer. Thank you, Erik. So you'll have to join us again, or in some way or another, we'll get the word out when these are available to use at some open event in town. So everybody that hears this can go out and try this because you've sold it so well and the passion really comes through. It's an inspiration, and I think you've obviously got some great wins ahead for you in this initiative.
So what I want to say is there's two books I recommend. One is 0 to 1, and the other one is One Simple Idea. I would start with One Simple Idea. That allows you to brainstorm, to think of something around it, because everybody has stuff around them that they can improve upon. I'll give you an example. My father, if you don't have knowledge of how to use it to a product make money, you're just going to go, oh yeah, I solved that, big deal, I don't know about it. Okay, my father in the early 60s, he was into electronics. He still is. He worked at the Lord Summit National Laboratory, and that's where I got a lot of my engineering approach to solving problems. Was he taught the method called walk away. Okay, and this is really important to listen to. So when you get frustrated on a project, right, walk away. Okay, I don't mean permanently, but walk away from it. Let your mind get clear. You get frustrated, it doesn't work, walk away from it. And then come back to it when your mind is fresh. And usually you'll get some new inside idea. So my father, in the early 60s, he was playing electric guitar. And back then, electric guitar had a wire that was attached to it. So you couldn't walk around the stage. You just had to be stuck where you were. And he got tired of that. He was just like, it'd be kind of nice if I could just walk around the whole stage or go into the crowd. And so he invented the very first wireless guitar. Okay, just tinkering around. He did it. And, he was playing and people were impressed, but he never knew that was a product. He didn't think it was an idea. So 8 years later, someone else patents the electric guitar and makes millions of dollars. And my dad was just sitting there. In fact, even to this day, doesn't even think about it. Just like, oh, I just solved the problem. What I'm trying to say is people have ideas around you all the time. They just don't have the blueprint to execute on it, or how to figure out if this is a problem that I can solve. So those two books will allow you to network through all the ideas around you, what you see. And then 0 to 1 will allow you to look at the idea you have and then try to think, is this really a solution? Is this 10 times better than what's out there? I went through about 45 different ideas before I came on TidyHut, because I was looking at all these products. I'd go on Google, look on patent search for solutions. And I mean, one of them was, I thought it'd be really nice to get a shower curtain that was plastic that had pockets in it, right? And I looked, and guess what? They already have it. Well, by the way, my shower curtain has pockets in it because they have it out there, right? But you just keep looking. Don't get discouraged. Just go, okay, that's not a solution. Okay, that's not one. That's not one. Keep going until you find the one that's 10 times better. And then once you find it 10 times better, then jump on that and try to figure out, how can I do this with a minimum viable product that basically, it could be as simple as cardboard. I mean, it could be simple as, what can I do to kind of understand it? And I say this because when you design on a paper and then you build it out, you see things that you didn't see in paper. Like I did a lot of 3D printing, and I'd have these big molds that would take 2 days to print the whole thing out. And what I would do is I would first print out 1/10 the scale, because it takes like an hour and a half to do it. And then I could see if it needed adjustments, and then print the whole thing out. And with the whole thing's printed out, then you look at it, you try it, and you go, well, what if I tried this, or what if I tried that? All of us wants to do that, but we don't give ourselves the permission to do it.
So one simple idea, 0 to 1.
Yeah.
And all the takeaways that you just provided to kind of wrap around that.
And move to Spokane.
And move to Spokane. Got it. There's a blueprint. This has been great, Erik. It's been really encouraging and great takeaways from the journey so far. We're excited to see the future of TidyHut, and please keep bringing these lessons learned back to the ecosystem, right? We all learn from this. We're learning together, and it's even improving the already great Spokane.
Well, I want to say is that when people use the TidyHut, the first thing they say is, "That's craptastic."
So you've got your marketing slogan ready. We look forward to the billboards. It's too easy. Too easy. It's a lot of fun, and love the passion. Love seeing it all come together. Thanks again, Erik.